In a world where time seems to move faster and faster and the pressure to consume is constant, there exists an alternative path we can choose. It's called the slow life. This concept might sound simple, but its impact is profound, especially for those of us who have witnessed decades of change and now seek something quieter and more meaningful as we age. Embracing the slow life. Imagine waking up each morning not to the blaring alarm of urgency, but to the gentle embrace of dawn, savoring each moment without the relentless push to do more, buy more and be more. In today's fast-paced society, where every second is accounted for and every moment is monetized, the idea of slowing down might seem counterintuitive, yet, for those of us aged between 55 and 75, the allure of a slower, more intentional life becomes increasingly appealing. Why do you think the concept of slow living resonates so deeply with those in this age group? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Re-evaluating consumerism. As we journey through life, our perspectives evolve. In our youth, society bombards us with messages equating success with the accumulation of material possessions. Advertisements flood our senses with promises that spending more leads to owning more, which in turn makes us more. We chase the latest gadgets, the fanciest cars, and the most luxurious vacations, believing these are the keys to happiness. But as we age, a shift occurs. The wisdom gained from years of living reveals that true happiness doesn't stem from what we own. The fabric of modern society is intricately woven with consumerism, designed to make us spend incessantly. We're led to believe that we're part of the system only if we buy into it. However, consuming more fails to fulfill the deeper needs of our souls. Reflecting on my own life, I remember the countless times I felt the need to keep up with trends, to possess the latest items, believing they would bring me joy. Yet, with each passing year, the weight of these possessions grew heavier, not lighter. It wasn't until I began to let go that I discovered a sense of freedom I had long forgotten. The allure of simplicity, a personal journey. Let me share a story from my past. Years ago, I made the bold decision to downsize. I sold my spacious home and moved into a modest, narrow boat. If you've ever seen a narrow boat, you know it's compact, only about 50 feet long and just under 7 feet wide. Moving into such a small space meant making tough choices about what to keep and what to let go. Initially, the idea felt overwhelming. I had accumulated so much over the years, boxes filled with items I hadn't used in decades, kitchen appliances I couldn't even remember owning, and an astonishing 5 coffee makers. However, as I began the process of decluttering, something remarkable happened. I started to feel lighter, not just physically but emotionally as well. It was as if I was shedding not only material possessions, but also the emotional baggage that came with them. Moving into that small space provided a sense of freedom I hadn't experienced in years. It was akin to the mythical Atlas shrugging off the sky. Finally, a burden lifted. Even if downsizing isn't on your immediate agenda, I encourage you to try it in some form. Go through your kitchen, your closets, your garage. Let go of things you no longer need or use. Don't hoard. You'll be amazed at how much better you feel with less. Simplifying your surroundings often leads to a clearer, more focused mind. Capitalism and consumerism. Finding balance. I'm not against capitalism. In fact, it's a system that works for the most part. Businesses create goods and services that make our lives easier, and in return, they earn a profit which is fair. If someone bakes a loaf of bread and sells it to me for a little more than it costs to make, I'm perfectly fine with that. They've done the hard work, and I'm happy to pay for the convenience. However, problems arise when the balance tips too far. Consumerism often encourages us to consume for the sake of consuming. The beauty of capitalism lies in its competitive nature. If one company charges too much for a product, another will undercut their price. But this can trap us in a cycle of buying more and more, always chasing the next product, the next trend, the next fleeting pleasure. As we grow older, we come to realize that the things we once thought we needed weren't truly necessary. Life isn't about having the newest phone or the fanciest clothes. It's about experiences, relationships, and moments of quiet reflection. Embracing a slower, less materialistic life means going against the grain. Most people in society are caught up in consumer culture, always on the go, always buying, always chasing something. If you choose to step off that treadmill, you'll find yourself in the minority. But being in the minority can be a beautiful thing. The beauty of being different. Living more simply without the constant need for more possessions allows you to see life differently. You begin to notice things that perhaps went unnoticed before. The rustle of leaves in the wind, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the quiet moments of reflection that bring a sense of peace and contentment. These things can't be bought, yet they offer a richness that money simply cannot provide. Living simply doesn't mean depriving yourself. It means being intentional with your choices. It's about focusing on what truly brings you joy and letting go of the rest. It's about slowing down enough to appreciate the life you have rather than always striving for the life you think you need. Have you ever felt the peace that comes from simplifying your life? Share your experiences in the comments. Facing society's expectations. Choosing to live a slow, simple life often means going against societal norms. Most people are entrenched in a consumer-driven culture, always striving for more. Opting out means you'll likely find yourself in the minority. Friends and family may not understand your choice to live more minimally. They might question your decisions or even mock your new lifestyle. But over time, the peace you gain from slowing down and consuming less will far outweigh the discomfort of being different. You'll discover that the simple life, while perhaps unconventional in today's world, is a path toward greater fulfillment and deeper happiness. As we age, the things that bring us joy often become simpler. The grandiose experiences we once sought may no longer hold the same allure. Instead, we find happiness in the little things, things that in our youth we may have overlooked or taken for granted. The quiet pleasure of sipping a cup of tea on a crisp morning, the contentment of spending time with loved ones, or the joy of watching birds at the feeder. These small moments become the treasures of life, and they are often free. Creating space for simple joys. When you're no longer caught up in the whirlwind of consumerism, you begin to see the value in things that don't have a price tag. Maybe you'll start gardening, growing your own vegetables or flowers. Perhaps you'll pick up a book you've been meaning to read or revisit a hobby you loved but never had time for. The point is, when you remove the distractions of constant consumption, you create space for these simple joys, and they will sustain you far longer than any material possession ever could. Let's face it, the pull of consumerism is strong. Even after you've made the conscious decision to live a slower, simpler life, you'll still face temptations. It's easy to get caught up in the allure of sales, advertisements, or even just the urge to buy something new because it feels good in the moment. How many times have we all logged onto a website like Amazon, not needing anything in particular, but ended up browsing for things to buy? That's the seduction of consumerism. It convinces us that we need things we don't, and before we know it, we've filled our carts with items that bring only temporary satisfaction. But here's the good news: the more you practice resisting these urges, the easier it becomes. Like any habit, it takes time to break the cycle of mindless spending. Start small. Try to go one day without buying anything, then two, then a week. Over time, you'll find that the desire to constantly consume fades, and you'll feel more at peace with what you already have. Finding fulfillment beyond consumption. When you stop spending so much time and money on buying things, you'll notice that you have more space in your life, both literally and figuratively. What will you do with that space? The possibilities are endless. The key is to fill it with activities that bring meaning and joy to your life. Maybe you'll take up knitting or start walking in the park every morning. Perhaps you'll spend more time with your grandchildren, sharing stories from your past and passing on the wisdom you've gained. Or maybe you'll devote more time to a hobby or craft that you've always enjoyed but never fully pursued. The point is, when you're no longer focused on acquiring things, you can focus on doing things that nourish your soul and bring you a deeper sense of fulfillment. You'll find that these activities, though simple, are incredibly rewarding and don't require you to open your wallet. Navigating challenges in slow living. Living a slow, simple life in today's world isn't without its challenges. You'll encounter resistance not just from others, but from within yourself as well. We've all been conditioned to believe that success and happiness are tied to what we own, and it can be hard to let go of that belief. Society pushes a narrative of consumption because it benefits those in power. The more we spend, the more they gain. Choosing to step outside of that system means going against the grain, and that can be uncomfortable at times. You may feel isolated or misunderstood, especially when you see friends or family members continuing to live in a way that no longer resonates with you. But take heart. The discomfort is temporary, and the rewards of living a simpler, more intentional life are profound. Over time, the pressures of society will have less of a hold on you, and you'll find peace in knowing that you're living in alignment with your values. Financial freedom through simplicity. One of the biggest advantages of living a slow life is the financial freedom it brings. When you stop buying things you don't need, you start saving money. That money can then be used for the things that truly matter, whether it's traveling to see family, investing in your health, or simply building a cushion for peace of mind in your later years. Living simply reduces the financial pressure many of us feel as we age. Instead of working to maintain a lifestyle built on consumption, you can focus on enjoying the fruits of your labor and the things that bring you real joy. You may even find that you need less income than you thought to live a fulfilling life. Reflection and legacy. As we grow older, reflection becomes a natural part of life. We look back on the choices we've made, the experiences we've had, and the lessons we've learned. Living a slow, simple life gives us the space to engage in this reflection meaningfully. When I reflect on my own journey, I don't regret the things I didn't buy or the trends I didn't follow. What I cherish are the moments spent with loved ones, the experiences of quiet joy, and the deep sense of peace that comes from living in alignment with my values. I've made mistakes along the way, of course, but I wouldn't change a thing. The path I've chosen, slow, intentional, and less materialistic, has brought me a level of contentment that no amount of possessions ever could. As we near the later stages of life, many of us begin to think about the legacy we'll leave behind. What do we want to be remembered for? For me, it's not about leaving behind material wealth or possessions. It's about leaving behind the values I've lived by. Simplicity, mindfulness, and an appreciation for the things that truly matter. I hope that my children and grandchildren will learn from my example. Not the things I owned, but the way I chose to live. I hope they'll see that happiness doesn't come from having more, but from appreciating the simple joys of life. And I hope they'll carry that lesson forward, finding their own paths to peace and contentment, just as I have. Prioritizing health through slow living. As we age, our health becomes one of the most important aspects of our lives. In a world that often prioritizes productivity and material success over well-being, it's easy to forget to take care of ourselves. Living a slow life encourages us to focus on our health, both mental and physical. By making space for rest, self-care, and mindfulness, we slow down and give ourselves the time to truly listen to our bodies. We start to recognize when we need rest, when we need to move, and when we need to nourish ourselves with healthy food and positive experiences. This awareness is a key benefit of slow living. Instead of pushing ourselves to the brink for the sake of maintaining a busy schedule or accumulating more things, we can focus on staying active, eating well, and nurturing our mental well-being. For many, this shift also leads to a deeper connection with nature. Whether it's taking regular walks in a local park, gardening, or simply sitting outside to enjoy the fresh air, connecting with the natural world has immense benefits for our health. Studies have shown that spending time in nature reduces stress, lowers blood pressure, and improves mental clarity. In a slow life, health is not an afterthought, it's a priority. With less pressure to keep up with the pace of modern life, we can focus on the most important thing of all, our well-being. By caring for ourselves in this way, we can enjoy a higher quality of life both now and in the years to come. Sustaining the slow life, building habits, and embracing change. As we embark further on the journey of slow living, it's essential to understand that this lifestyle is not just a temporary shift, but a sustainable change that can profoundly impact our well-being. Building habits that align with slow living requires patience, dedication, and a willingness to embrace change. Let's delve deeper into how we can cultivate these habits and overcome the challenges that may arise along the way. Cultivating mindfulness in daily life. Mindfulness is at the heart of slow living. It involves being fully present in each moment, appreciating the simple pleasures, and fostering a deep connection with ourselves and our surroundings. Incorporating mindfulness into our daily routines can transform mundane activities into meaningful experiences. Emma, a 62-year-old retiree, decided to incorporate mindfulness into her mornings. Instead of rushing through her morning routine, she began waking up 30 minutes earlier to enjoy a quiet cup of tea while watching the sunrise from her porch. This simple change allowed her to start the day with a sense of peace and gratitude. Over time, Emma noticed a significant improvement in her overall mood and outlook on life. By dedicating time to herself each morning, she created a foundation of calm that carried her through the day. Embracing minimalism. More than just decluttering. Minimalism goes hand in hand with slow living. It's about intentionally choosing to live with fewer possessions, thereby creating space for what truly matters. Embracing minimalism doesn't mean depriving ourselves. Instead, it means making conscious decisions about what we allow into our lives. In my own journey towards minimalism, I discovered that letting go of excess possessions was liberating. I realized that many of the items I held onto were more about sentiment than necessity. By decluttering, I made room not only in my home, but also in my mind. This process taught me to value quality over quantity and to cherish experiences over things. Fostering deep relationships. As we slow down, we have more time to invest in our relationships. Building and maintaining deep connections with family, friends, and our community enriches our lives in ways that material possessions cannot. John, a 70-year-old widower, found solace in joining a local community garden. Initially, he was hesitant to engage, fearing he might not fit in. However, as he spent more time tending to the plants and interacting with fellow gardeners, he formed meaningful friendships that provided him with emotional support and a sense of belonging. The community garden became a sanctuary where John could share stories, laugh, and create new memories, highlighting the profound impact of fostering deep relationships. Prioritizing health and well-being. Slow living places a strong emphasis on health and well-being. By prioritizing our physical and mental health, we ensure that we can enjoy our later years to the fullest. Incorporating regular exercise, balanced nutrition, and sufficient rest into my routine has been transformative. Simple activities like daily walks, practicing yoga, and preparing wholesome meals have significantly improved my energy levels and mental clarity. Additionally, dedicating time to hobbies and relaxation has reduced stress and enhanced my overall sense of well-being. Connecting with nature has a unique way of grounding us and providing a sense of peace. Spending time outdoors not only benefits our physical health, but also nurtures our mental and emotional well-being. Laura, a 68-year-old grandmother, decided to spend her weekends hiking in the nearby mountains. Initially, she found the physical exertion challenging, but as she continued, she began to appreciate the beauty of her natural surroundings. The fresh air, the vibrant colors of the changing seasons, and the tranquility of the wilderness provided her with a profound sense of rejuvenation. These nature retreats became a cherished part of Laura's life, offering her moments of reflection and a deeper connection with the world around her. Conclusion: the rewards of slow living. Choosing to live a slow life, spending less and finding peace and simplicity, is not the easiest path, but it is one of the most rewarding. It allows us to step away from the constant pressure to consume and instead focus on the things that truly matter: relationships, experiences, and inner peace. For those of us in the later stages of life, this approach offers a chance to reflect on what's most important, let go of the unnecessary, and live with a sense of contentment and fulfillment. It's a journey worth taking, and I invite you to join me on it. Thank you for watching the entire video. If you find these stories inspiring and motivating, please comment 1. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.